Welcome to the program. I am Lasha Kingsley in Douala, Cameroon. Today we shall be talking women and entrepreneurship. We are glad to have an amazing lady with us today. She is a founding president of Fotabe University and country representative of Rome Business School. I will be right back. Madam Elmine Fotabe, thanks so much for accepting to be guest on our program.
Thank you for asking me.
Can you briefly introduce yourself to televiewers?
Yes, you said already my name. Besides my name, I'm a social entrepreneur. That's what some people tell me. I'm a social entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an educationist. And I'm passionate about decent work for women and girls.
That's great. Most women, we're talking women and entrepreneurship. Most women start their businesses from on a lower level or on a small scale.
Yes.
What explains this phenomenon or this?
Yeah, you see, business in our part of the world is not easy for all the genders. But for women, it's even more difficult. And this is because, so many women do not have a source of income very young. They start thinking of having a source of income when they're already getting a little bit advanced in age. There are so many other difficulties that women face, like not being able to have access to loans, credit facilities. So many times, even family difficulties, like the husband not wanting to support the woman to start a business, and there are many other issues that really make it difficult for women to start big. But I should say it's even okay for women to start small. That's the reason why I always tell women that you do not need to neglect the first step, because starting small helps women to grow bigger.
What are the serious constraints that women in Cameroon face operating their business? And what can you tell them? What should they do to be able to overcome these constraints?
See, there are many enormous challenges, many. But there are two that are really particular to me and to many other female entrepreneurs I've had to talk with. These two are financial and human. We already started talking about financial, but the biggest constraint for women is usually to raise capital to either start their businesses or grow their businesses. The second is human resources. I say this with a heavy heart most of the time, that a lot of Cameroonians are not ready to work.
Why?
Because many Cameroonians are educated, but that they do not have the skills necessary to enter the workforce.
So does it go back to the educational system?
Well, I hate to talk about that because so many times when you
and
talk about...
coincidentally, you are an educationist.
Yes.
You're founder of Fotabe University and equally the country representative of Rome Business School in Cameroon.
Yes. What I came to notice, to understand, is that the education system means so many things to so many people. Let me shock you a little bit. I listened to a teacher, a secondary school teacher, talk about the education system. And he says Cameroon needs an overhaul of the education system. And he says what he intends by that is working conditions for teachers like him. That teachers are treated like beggars. So to this young man, the educational system means the working conditions for particular individuals like him. So many times I do not want to get into this murky waters of education system. But yes, I think that the way we learn in Cameroon has a lot to do with the output that we find. And the way we learn today, I particularly want to talk about personal effort. People go to school and they do not put personal effort in studying. I do not want to blame the teachers. I do not want to blame school administrators. I do not want to blame the curricula. I want to blame, I don't know if blame is the word, but I want to call out on people who learn to put in personal effort. Because of the lack of this personal effort, you have a lot of people who have graduated from higher institutes of learning, from vocational training institutions, and yet do not have the skills necessary to work. This is a big problem that female entrepreneurs and all entrepreneurs face. I do too. And what I should tell them, see, I started small. Before I started my first business 12 years ago, I worked. As a student, I worked odd jobs so that I could save money to start my business. I did. So I tell women, raise your capital. Do whatever it takes.
You may want to agree with me that cultural barriers, like, you know, we are in Africa, you know, before then, the woman's place was in the kitchen.
Yes.
Probably, not only that, most women, you find them, they get pregnant and they have to take care of the babies. Maybe that's some of the reasons why they cannot really do business fluently. We don't have many women doing well in business.
See, all those challenges I'm aware of. I've been through some of them and I've had to cope. You know, as a student, I had 3 jobs. 3. And you ask me, when would you study? I studied while in the car going to work. That's when I'll struggle to read. You know, when I return home at midnight, that's when I'm struggling to read and I have to be up again at 4 a.m. Those challenges are there. You have a family sometimes that you have to take care of. Those challenges are there. I always think that the magic is in the planning, being passionate about something you want to do, finding that small window of opportunity to start small. That's why I like your first question, starting small. You can start from selling pepper like I did. As a student, I sold pepper in the market.
That's interesting.
Yes, I did. My parents did not understand why I wanted to do that. I told this story a while ago. But I did. I learned lessons from selling pepper in the market, you know, and there were lots of people selling pepper, like you know. But I still had my space. I still had people coming to buy, and I learned to save. I learned to talk to customers. I learned to grow from something small. So all those challenges are there. Yes, women are facing enormous challenges, but then there is always a way out if they put their hearts to what they want to do. So I was going to talk about what women could do when it comes to the challenges that I mentioned before. Financial challenges, start small, work on odd jobs, do other things to raise money, get a job, volunteer somewhere to get experience, do whatever it takes, talk to friends, talk to people who can believe in you and support you. I did not have a lot of money when I had to start, but I spoke to some people who supported my idea and added to what I already had, and then I'm doing what I'm doing today. Human resources, I think what I do is what many women can do.
And what do you do?
I hire for attitude, then I train for skill. Because it's not very easy, like I said, to have the skills that we're looking for. But if you have people who have the right attitude, then who are malleable enough, you can groom them to become the kind of employees that you want. That's what I do, and that's what I think every woman should do.
Well, like I was talking about cultures, you know, most cultures in Africa, especially in Cameroon, forbid women from doing certain things or getting to certain levels.
Yes. Well, I think things are changing. Things are really changing. Many years ago, I would have said, yes, it's really tough. Today, we still have parts of our country where women are not allowed to explore possibilities, where women are not allowed to be passionate about things and to start something and to grow, you know. But I think that we've made a lot of progress as a nation. A lot has changed. We can see women in places we would never have imagined before. That should encourage women who are still in those little corners to know that one day there will be an opportunity for them, and what they should do is be ready for that opportunity.
Yeah, let me take this, madam. By 2017, research found that 41.9% of Cameroonian women are interested in becoming entrepreneurs. And of those who are already entrepreneurs, 56% are doing so because they see real opportunity. And then 36.6% meanwhile say they are running their own businesses merely to survive. What do you have to say about this?
Yes, I think we have to be honest. A lot of entrepreneurs start businesses because they want to survive. A lot of entrepreneurs. Now we hear a lot of stories about passion and things like that, but we know that the bottom line at the end of the day is because people want to survive. It's okay to start a business because you want to survive. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's also okay to start a business because you're passionate about doing something. I am passionate about imbibing skills and knowledge in people. That's why I'm doing the kind of business I am doing. But if I weren't in education, probably I'll be in something else, doing it because I want to earn a living. So it's okay to do that. What I have to say is just do it to the best of your ability and grow. Don't stagnate.
Where did you get your inspiration? You were the founding president of a university. How did you where did you draw your inspiration?
See, 12 years ago, I never thought I wanted to run an institution of higher learning. I never had that in mind. What I did 12 years ago was to place people in jobs. So what I had was a job placement agency. My inspiration came from my classroom. I was studying human resource management, and then I saw the need to help young people to get jobs. But you see, everything that has happened to me for 12 years now has been a kind of chain. Because in trying to place young people in jobs, I got all these complaints from employers like they're not ready, you know, they do not have the skills we're looking for, they are not experienced. Then I started asking myself, how can I solve this problem? I started by small trainings, seminars, but then I saw that wasn't working. It wasn't working. It will not help young people to really have the kind of skills that an employer will need from day one when they enter into an institution. So then it occurred to me, because I taught in the university for many years, and I saw how much young people are lost, no orientation. They come to study what their parents want, they come to study what their peers are studying. So then it hits me that I could do something to help, you know, to solve the issue of skill deficiency and to even help to reorientate young people. That's why I thought if I run my own institution, then I have the possibility of orientating many young people to pick the kind of careers that are necessary in our environment.
Madam, how do you manage your time? How do you manage your home and your business?
One of the courses we teach our students, all our students here, is time management. We teach them to prioritize. So the watchword for me is always prioritize.
And when you say prioritize, what do you mean by prioritize? Prioritize what?
It means that I have so many things to do in one day, but I have to sit down at the beginning of the day and say, this is important at this time, this is important at this time, this is not important today, so I can do this tomorrow, you know. And I think that everything is supposed to have its place. There is a time for my family, I don't trade that for anything. There's a time for my work, there's a time for leisure, because I need that too. And there's a time for reflection. I really keep aside time for reflection, because there are a lot of things I want to do, there are a lot of things I want to learn, and I need a me time to really reflect. So I sit down every day and I think of everything I want to do. I write a lot and I prioritize and make sure that only those very important stuff are found on my list.
What should the government do to promote, according to you, what should the government do to promote entrepreneurs who display growth aspirations? What should the government do? I know people like you, you've established already, and I'm talking like about people like you. What should the government do?
You know, if my students are watching this, they'll be holding their breath. They want to know what I'm going to say about this, because I always tell them, I don't wait on the government to do anything. I always tell my students, Don't ask for the government to do anything for you. Seize opportunities. But because you have asked the question, I have to answer. So what should the government do? The government should keep doing what they have started doing.
And what has the government been doing?
Entrepreneurship has become important.
We are talking about women entrepreneurship.
Yes, I think that it's not been long since, I'm sure, our government realized that female entrepreneurs have a thing to contribute to our economy. Now they talk about it a lot. Now there are some arms of government, some government institutions that have been put in place to support not just female entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs. I think that female entrepreneurs, yes, if there's something I want to ask the government to do, is to set up a structure to encourage female entrepreneurs with all the peculiarities in this gender. I think we need a support which is ours, which is really particular to women. We have PRC, we have PAGEU, we have National Employment Fund. It's for everybody. Now, it would be an amazing thing to have a kind of institution like that for female entrepreneurs, where they could express themselves, they could have the kind of support and accompaniment that will reflect the difficulties that women in particular face.
When you look at tax policy in Cameroon, does it favor entrepreneurship, businesses?
Well, you see, when I talk tax, I don't talk tax exclusively. Because if you want to look at an issue like tax, there are a lot of things you want to bring on the table.
Because most people have been complaining, especially the women, that when you set up a business today, the next day, you see, before you know it, they come with this, tax this, and the thing dies.
Oh, well, I wouldn't exactly agree with them on that. See, before I get into things, I learn everything there is to learn about it. So before I get into a business, I want to know all the taxes that apply to my business. I do a lot of research, and I keep doing research. So to think that you'll be surprised one day with a tax you weren't prepared to pay, well, I don't know about that. But I also think that when you want to become an entrepreneur, you're ready for things like tax. It's part of business. And what has been my driving force when it comes to taxes, if foreign businesses could come to this country and make it, if foreigners could come from Nigeria, from Gabon, and start small businesses and grow big, paying the same taxes, why shouldn't I do it? It may not be as friendly as we want, but it's very necessary, and we have to brace up ourselves to be able to do with that. That's what I do, that's my mentality, and that's what I want every other woman to think. So
you're encouraging more women to get into business?
Definitely, definitely. Women are better managers. Men will always have a thing to say about this, but I think that women are better managers. We're brought up to manage. At a young age, we start cooking for the house. You have to manage the maggi and the salt and the crayfish. We grow with that sense of responsibility to care for other people. So when you start a business, then you know how to care for your staff, you know how to manage your resources, you know how to brand, you know how to keep your environment clean. More women should make use of this opportunity that they have to be women to get into business.
You look at where you started 12 years ago and where you are today.
Yes.
Can you say you're making progress?
Yes, it has been an enormous learning.
What have been your achievements?
Well, my achievement is that I think I have touched lots of lives in this country, directly or indirectly. Directly because I think you will not get into many businesses and many offices in this country and you don't find one of my products. Indirectly because...
When you say product, does it mean this? Are you talking about the students from Rome Business School? Or?
All the students I have trained for the past 20 years, for the past 12 years. You will not get into any business today and you do not find somebody who has passed through me somehow. So that's a big achievement. Indirectly, on two fronts, there are a lot of people who follow what I do, who have become inspired to want to do the kind of things I do. That's a big win for me. You know, that's the kind of thing I go back home every day and I say, yes, I've done something. If I can encourage somebody else to do the kind of things I'm doing. Then I have trained a lot of trainers and teachers as well. So you go to the universities, you find students I trained who are training other students. That's great. And so you find that even if I do not directly touch every life in Cameroon, somehow I do. And that's what matters to me.
Have you been receiving support from the government? Or who are your sponsors? Those who have been assisting you? The banks, do you find it easy to get loans from the banks?
Not easy. You never find it
because
easy.
We have this problem of women collaterals. Women have this problem of collaterals. Before then, it was difficult for a woman to own land in Cameroon.
Yes.
And they find it difficult to get loans from the banks. So have you been able to survive with these obstacles, with these barriers?
Like I said before, when you are passionate about something, you always find a way. When I started 12 years ago, I didn't need the banks because I had worked hard, I saved money. You know, I started my first business. After about a year, it failed completely. So I had to go back to work. I was teaching in the university, teaching in other higher institutes of learning, and I could save some money. But then the banks have been supportive. I think twice I've been able to obtain a loan. One
through relations or following normal procedures?
The normal procedure, that's the surprising thing. You know, the first time they didn't need a collateral, they just needed my business plan. Amazing. It happened in Cameroon about 10 years ago.
Most people would tell you that sponsors, they don't even have the time to read the business plan. You bring your business plan to somebody, he does not even have the time to read it.
If you have to part with your money, then you find time to read the business plan. This is a financial institution that had to part with their money. So they needed time to read. They had the time to read my business plan and found it worthwhile supporting. That was the first support I got about 10 years ago. And yes, I've had another support, quite huge, from another financial institution. Probably because I had set up already. You see, so nobody wants to just finance an idea.
Why?
People want to see what is feasible. See, lots of people have ideas. You know, ideas that are here in the morning, in the evening, they are gone. So people want to see something which can be sustainable. And when I talk of the first institution, I think that yes, they had seen the work I was doing. They had seen the work. I had even trained staff close to that institution. So they had seen that it wasn't an idea that just popped up and which was going to die. And they trusted that idea and they invested in it. And over the years, I have built, and these other institutions have seen how much commitment, how much hard work I've put in what I do. And I think in that case, yes, you can have the kind of support we need from banks. Collateral is a big problem, like I said, but that's the importance of starting small and growing. When you start small, you do not need the banks from day one. Start small. Don't think that because you're starting a business, you need a big office and you need 200 staff. Start small and grow. It starts like that. Even a seed is planted, a single seed, and then it grows. You know, the problem with many young people today is that they want to start big, you know. They want to start today and see success tomorrow. It takes a whole lot of hard work. If I didn't tell you I started 12 years ago, you wouldn't know. So it takes a whole lot of hard work, the planting, the watering.
So what are you telling the young women like you? That the business climate in Cameroon is there, they just need to exploit it?
Exactly.
Because there's this mentality that the terrain is rough.
Well, I don't want to say the terrain is not rough, but I also want to say there are enormous opportunities. You see, I used to say you can do business anywhere at any time with anything in Cameroon. There are so many opportunities. Anywhere you turn, you see an opportunity. Women just need to look harder, be passionate about something, believe in themselves, and they'll make it.
That's where skills come in now.
Like I said before, that's the biggest deficiency we have. That's the biggest problem.
You find people with 4 or 5 masters, but they cannot they cannot even produce
CV. Not to talk of a business plan. You see, and sometimes I used to talk to colleagues of yours, to media people, to other opinion leaders, and I say, somehow you're not helping us. You're not helping us to tell the story, to tell the real story to young people. Because, see, going to the university and graduating is not important to anybody. I tell my students, when you come here, you're coming to learn, to read, to write, to think. That's all we can teach you. The rest, you have to pick it up from there. But you know what our parents, what some of our media people, you know, our politicians make these young people believe is that when you go to the university, you're ready to work. That's not it. When you graduate and you wear a robe and you have a 3.5 GPA, you're ready to work. That's not it. We do not need GPAs. We do not need certificates. We need skills. And you need to put in personal effort to acquire the skills that are useful in the job market.
Emile Fotabe, country representative of Room Business School. Thanks so much for being guest on our program.
Thank you very much. It was an amazing pleasure for me to share my opportunity. I hope that somehow I've been able to inspire one woman today to take up the challenge of setting up a business in this country, because like I said, there are many opportunities and we just have to look harder and we'll be able to start something that can transform our communities.